Hello, my friends. It's Monday morning, so that is a good time to read a few articles and hear my opinion regarding them in the weekly links. My name is Alexander Barmin, and it's my channel. Please don't forget to give me a like and subscribe. Let's start. The first article is from dev.to portal, and it tells how to host your pet project for free in 2023. So idea is simple. If you need to host your application, more likely you need something like an authentication, and here you can use Clerk for free. It means that obviously not every application can be hosted here, but in case if you have less than 5,000 monthly active user, you can use it. Again, same for the database. If you need to host your side project, which does not have an extensive load, you can use PlanetScale for MySQL hosting and get MySQL instance for free. For example, within 5 tier or 5 gigabytes of storage available, and let's say 1 billion row reads per month and 10 million row writes per month. So actually, it's a lot for small application. Other than that, you can host your application for free on Vercel. So, for example, if you build a Next.js application with server-side rendering, you need to host it somewhere. So Vercel is a good option. Again, there are some limitations. Not every application can be hosted for free, but still, if you're running a small application, why shouldn't you give it a try? Docker images, again, you can host on fly.io, and obviously you can host them for free on GitHub packages. Here, let's say here you have a bit more spacious quota. And other than that, if you need to host some cron jobs and Redis, you can do it on Upstash. So to sum up, I want to say is that, well, actually, majority of our cloud providers provide you with free tier. You can register on AWS and get 1 year of free tier for free. At the same time, not all the services are available for free. And on the other hand, why shouldn't you just rent a virtual machine in cloud for $2-3 per month and do all your experiments there? Or, for example, if you're writing a very simple application, you can go to any shared hosting provider like GoDaddy and rent some capacity there. So it's up to you. Moving forward, the next topic in my list is Preact libraries, which would be useful for everyone. And I really like React because it is so popular and it is so easy to start using it. So, for example, if you need to implement drag and drop, you can use the ND kit. It's simple. If you need to create some animations, you can do React Spring. If you need to create 3D parallax hover effect for your website, Anthropos is a good option. React Drop Zone is a convenient way of creating drop zones for drag and dropping files and submitting them, for example, to the cloud storage. Typee, it's a good library for tooltips. React Select allows you to customize app selects. Material UI, which is actually, let's say, an implementation of Google Material UI version 2, but as a collection of React components. You should be aware that actually Material UI version 3 was released recently, and well, it can be used directly without any wrappers, by the way. And many other libraries like Slider, creation of PDFs, creating some, let's say, walkthroughs in your React application, and so on. So, due to the high popularity of React, there are many extensions for it, which makes your life significantly easier. But again, here we have a trade-off, because on the one hand, you can use some third-party library for implementing some capabilities, like a drag and drop. Well, but at the same time, you should be sure that this library is under the maintenance, because in case you want to use the functionality in long run, you need to, let's say, update your React version and as well update the versions of all the dependencies. So in case your dependency is not updated, it can create a problem. So as ordinary, please weight all the pros and cons. As ordinary, moving to Java. So this is a quite interesting article regarding experience of a person who moved his project from PHP, Redis, and Node.js to Quarkus. Well, honestly, I would say that hosting for PHP and Node.js is much cheaper because you cannot run your Quarkus application on any, let's say, stack. But still, it's a good exercise because, Quarkus became more and more popular because it's a cloud native framework which allows you to build cloud native executables, but you write your code in Java. And actually, in case if you need to, let's say, run your application in Kubernetes, it's a good option. But in case you're building your small pet project, well, you may try it. Why not? It's worth knowing it. So I personally tried Quarkus multiple times and I really like it because it has a very good documentation. First of all, there are many different examples which shows almost any aspect. And secondly, it has a fantastic dev mode. So what's good when you write code in PHP? You can just save your file and immediately see changes. Isn't it good? Yes. What if you write your code in Java? What should you do next? Well, it's not so convenient because you need to recompile your project, rebuild it again, make sure that all the tests passed, and so on. But in case you're using Spring and adding Spring Dev Tools, what it allows you to do, it definitely allows you to restart Spring application context without restarting the whole application. Well, it's quicker, but still not instant. Quarkus team took a step forward and they introduced dev mode, which allows to restart parts of the application when you change it. So it makes your developer experience in writing in Java quite similar to the development experience you had in PHP. You're just saving your changes and you immediately see them. So I suppose this is the most important feature of the Quarkus because you can convert even Spring application into the native executable with Spring Native. It's not a big deal at the moment, but still, development experience is not so smooth in Spring in comparison with development experience in Quarkus. At the same time, you still have to learn new because Spring has its own ecosystem, but Quarkus is built on top of MicroProfile and has its own ecosystem of even of annotations. Nevertheless, all the experience you have in Spring can be reused in Quarkus as well. So if you have a few hours over the weekend, you may try to use Quarkus because it's a super convenient tool for building Java applications. And it definitely allow you to learn new things quite quick. Java 8 introduced a lot of new features, and one of them is Lambdas actually and Stream API. And Stream API allows you to do a collection of operations over collection of objects just in a very concise and very descriptive way. And it's very convenient to use method references. But other than that, we have a lot of operations which are, let's say, quite simple, like null check, which you cannot use, you cannot write, let's say, without building Lambda explicitly. But actually, you can. Because in Java, there is a quite complicated and comprehensive class, which is called objects. And it was introduced many years ago. And it allows you to do many interesting things with two objects. So, for example, you can compare objects by for their equality. And why it is important? Because, if you need to compare two objects using equal method, you need to make sure that at least one of them is not null, right? Right. But using object equal, you can compare even two null objects without doing this additional check. Obviously, equal compares not everything. It obviously depends on the implementation, but at the same time, you can use deep equals in order to compare full hierarchy of objects in case you don't want to implement your own equal method. In case you need to compare two objects or you don't want to implement your own comparator, or you want to implement comparator, you can use compare methods. Other than that, objects class has a lot of useful tools for and convenient method for converting your object to string, for calculating the hash code, for null checks, for throwing exceptions, and additional checks. So what I did previously, for example, I used predicate from Google Guava. And nowadays, in majority of cases, there is no need to do that because majority of operations from Google Guava are already available in Java. So you remember in Guava, what we had previously is, for example, optionals and next Java get optionals. Next, Guava had a predicate class with a big collection of tools and big collection of convenient methods. And nowadays we have objects class. So Java collects more and more useful features in order to make your developers' productivity higher. And last one article is again about Quarkus. And actually, it is not an article itself, it is a recording from Sebastian Dashner's blog. So if you have never seen this blog before, you should definitely subscribe to it in case if you're interested in Quarkus and you like coffee like Sebastian. So on a very high level, so in case if you're dealing with data in Spring, for example, Spring pushes you to use a repository design pattern when you're creating an entity, and in order to read-write this entity to the database or read from the database, you're creating a separate interface, which is called repository. And Quarkus approach is a bit different because it follows the idea of active record. So active record allows you to create your entity and extend it from a particular base entity, and next, in your entity, you're getting additional collection of methods, which allows you to, for example, retrieve it from database or save it to database. So in this case, you don't need to create additional classes for manipulating your entities, but in this case, you're mixing, let's say, data and data access. So this is a quite good video from Sebastian Dashner, which explains benefits and drawbacks of both approaches. And definitely you should watch this recording because in case if you need to make a decision, this time it will be a weighted decision. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like it, put a comment and subscribe to my channel. See you next week.